Hello, Flosstube. It's Lorraine again, Rags to Stitches USA, here for part 2 of Flosstube number 2. And I am just so proud to be here. It has been quite a weekend. I just wanted to come back and film another little video to tag on to the last video, and hopefully my son that's here today can mesh the two together somehow. I don't know anything about editing, but he tells me he thinks he can, so I'm hoping he can do that. If not, this is going to be video 2A and 2B. I guess that's the only way I know to do it, but I did want to come back and give you a little rewind a little bit and tell you a little bit about my weekend. First thing I want to do is mention a couple of other people that have been kind enough to give me shout outs. I can't believe I forgot Yvonne, the Night Owl Stitcher. Hello, she and I are buds. I sit at her kitchen table every week. How could I forget Yvonne? So I'm sorry, Yvonne. Thank you for the sweet shout out. You're precious. And also I got a shout out, I think yesterday, from Bendy Stitchy, Michelle Garrett. Thank you, Michelle. That was very sweet. Very sweet. Thank you so much. And if you that are watching, if you have heard of my channel through someone else that I have not mentioned, please let me know. I would love to thank them for the shout out as well. Your comments, your shout outs, as I said before, they mean so much. So thank you. Sincerely, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. Let's see. Let me back up just a little bit and tell you about a few things that have happened just this weekend alone. It's been a crazy weekend. First, Friday night, I was privileged to get to go to a pajama party at Debbie and Donna's house, D Squared. They were very kind, very gracious, lovely hostesses. It was so much fun. There were several Flosstubers there, several girls there. Diana with It Is Kismet Stitches was there. Janet Coker, who doesn't have a floss tube, but she is on Instagram as A Needle in Time. I'm trying to look around the table as I go. Lori with Mischievous Stitches was there, and she brought her bestie, Dawn, who she talks about on her videos a good bit. Dawn doesn't have a floss tube yet, but I think she's a future floss tuber. We can start looking for her. I think she said she was going to go as Dawn did it. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. Had a great time. I didn't spend the night. I had to be up early Saturday morning to do something with my daughter. And as I said in the video, I'm probably an hour to an hour and a half away from Debbie and Donna. With traffic, it's much, much longer, but coming home as late as I did on Friday night, I didn't have a whole lot of traffic. So Saturday, I did some things with my daughter, and then I went to another meetup with other Georgia cross stitchers. I think everyone that was at Donna's house was there, along with quite a few other Georgia and surrounding area stitchers. And had a great time. We met at a library there, and I had to leave a little bit early because I had to prepare and get ready for my trip on Sunday. But it was still a lot of fun, and I know, y'all, I know we are blessed here in this area to have quite a few local stitchers. I didn't realize how many local stitchers there were until I got on Flosstube. And in some of the Facebook groups, there's a Facebook group for Georgia Stitchers, and there may be the same type groups for those of you in other parts of the country. So you may just want to look for them. I didn't even know to look for them until Flosstube. So that might be something you might want to look for. There may be friends right around the corner from you that you may not even know about. So it's worth looking into. Okay, so then Sunday morning I got up and I realized I needed to make a video really quick before I left for my trip. So I flew to Detroit, Michigan to surprise my friend for her baby shower. And which I did. She was totally surprised, number one, by the baby shower. She wasn't expecting one because this is her 12th baby, 12th and final baby, they say. So she was not expecting a baby shower. So she was surprised, number one, to see everyone there. And then when the crowd kind of parted and she saw my face, she was especially shocked. And so we both hugged and did the ugly cry. I mean, I squalled, y'all. She was one of my best friends when she was here in Georgia. And we've kept in contact a little, off and on through the years, but not like we should have. And I am sad about that. And I want to encourage you that if you have friends that you have not seen in a while and have not contacted, contact them. Stay in touch. Nurture those friendships, because being with her, it was like old times again. And even though we are many states apart, we could do a lot more to cultivate that friendship and keep that friendship as fresh as it once was. There are so many, FaceTime and texting and email and videos and all that stuff. I didn't even know her younger children. I'd seen pictures, but I didn't know them, and they didn't know me. And after this weekend, we love each other, and her kids didn't want me to go, and I didn't want to leave them, and so I need to make more of an effort to stay connected with them and let them stay connected with Aunt Lorraine. So that was fun. So then Sunday night, Sunday late afternoon, they took me to the airport and got on the plane and took off. And about the time my plane leveled off, there was a loud noise and a shaking of the plane and doors for the luggage compartments popping open, and it was pretty scary. And I pretty much knew right away that we had blown an engine. Y'all, that's a surreal feeling. A lot of things go through your mind very quickly. And my first thought was, I'm about to see Jesus. I just knew that we were going down. And it was really cool how God just gave me a peace. And I was okay with that. I was okay with knowing I was about to meet Jesus. I got on my phone and I checked, even though it wouldn't work, in midair. But I thought maybe if we crash somehow, my family will see this. So I sent text, I love you, to each of my children and my husband, and talked with those around me. And, everybody was amazingly, no, they weren't. I want to say they were amazingly calm, but they really weren't. There were a lot of people that were terrified. The stewardesses and stewards would not tell us right away what was happening. It was really loud. So it really was obvious what had happened, but eventually the pilot did come on and tell us that we had indeed blown an engine. We were going to be turning around and making an emergency landing back in Detroit. The pilot did a wonderful job. He maintained the plane well. We landed without much of an incident at all. It was a very smooth landing. We did come down fairly, I guess, quicker than we normally would have. So, had the ice pick in the ear kind of thing. But we landed safely. Very thankful. God answered our prayers. And it's funny, Lori had messaged me. And we had Facebook messaged right before we took off. And I had thanked her for thinking of me and praying for me. And let me tell you, the prayers of a righteous man availeth much, is what the scripture says, and I believe that. So we landed back at the airport, and then had to wait and see if we could get a plane to bring us home. They eventually did bring in another plane from Dallas, and we got home in the early Monday morning hours. So just thankful to be here, proud to be here. So yesterday I did nothing. After the events of this weekend, I woke up with a massive migraine, still had the pick in the ear. Still today, my ear is still stopped up. I don't really know how to unstop this thing. If y'all have any tips, I sure would appreciate them, because I feel like I'm talking in a bucket, and it's still a little bit painful. So I'm not going to complain. I am here. So anyway, I rushed through a few things that I showed you in the last video. One of the things that I showed you was a sampler that stays on my wall by when you see it when you walk in my front door. And I showed it really quickly, but I didn't really talk much about it, and I don't have a whole lot more to talk about. I did tell you that it was a piece by did I say Words of Praise? I think it's Words of Praise. Now that I say that, I'm second guessing myself, but I think it was. I think it's called the Hospitality Sampler. I know it's the Hospitality Sampler. But I think I had it at such an angle you might not have been able to read what it says. So I will read that to you. Let's see if I can get it in a good spot. It says, "Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." I love that. And so that hangs at my door, and I see it every time I walk in my front door. I stitched this, like I said, many years ago, but I still love it. So maybe you can get a better look at it that way. As I said, I didn't have much of an opportunity to do a lot of cross-stitching for the past couple of weeks, because I have been working on that quilt that I showed you. That was a quilt from a book called Fat Quarter Baby. Should have brought that book in here. I didn't even think about that. Can't tell you who makes the book, but it's Fat Quarter Baby, and the pattern that I used was Kristen, in case you're a quilter and had questions about that. A few other things that I did work on that I did not show you. I think in my last video I was whining about I was whining about the piece that I had done for the summer schoolhouse, and how I had started it and messed up, and I was having to pick out. Here's the, I know y'all have all seen this, but this is the one that I was working on, the very first summer schoolhouse lesson. And I had messed up the house and was trying to pick out parts of that. I never did get all that thing picked out. I have never frogged 1/1 on 28 count Lugana. Y'all, that ain't fun. That is not one bit fun. And I don't know if the hand-dyed flosses are different than DMC. I kind of think they might be a little bit in the texture, because I've never had an issue before with DMC when I tried to frog it. I've never had such a problem with it fraying. This is about as long a piece as I could get out before it was just frayed to shreds. And so I couldn't pick out a little bit and then be able to weave it back in the back and let that be good enough, because it's not quite long enough. Maybe I could, I don't know, but there's not a whole lot of room in the back to weave things back in. I worried and fretted over that thing. And finally, Donna, God bless her, D squared, Donna said, well, I have some more of that fabric if you just want to start all over again, because I didn't have any more of the fabric that I could spare anyway, because I needed the rest of it for the rest of the pieces in the series. So bless her heart, Donna gave me a piece. Oh, that I could just start all over. Whew! That was the way to go. I didn't have to worry and stress and fret over that. I will eventually probably pick that out and be able to use that again, but I'm ready to put it down. So I did pick up another piece and started on it. I haven't gotten very far, but I have got a little bit of progress there. So we're building a house again. Hopefully by the next video it will look more like a house. Something else that I had worked on at one point, I saw Jessica, the Schoolhouse Stitcher, had shown a piece that she had worked on. It was called an Ort Box, and I don't have that pattern with me either, but I think it was a Brenda Gervais pattern. And you stitch the top and you put it over the lid of a little box, and then you hinge that lid. It's a little basket. It's only, you know, about that big around. It's really cute, tiny little basket that you use to put your orts in. So I had almost finished. I was really close to finishing the lid for this, and just like Jessica, I thought, you know, I don't think that's going to fit. So I held up the little lid. This is how big the basket is. It's tiny. I held the lid up to my piece, and can you tell, y'all, sure enough, that is not going to fit on here. So I was given the wrong size piece of linen. So this will probably be turned into a little pillow, a little cushion, a little dough bowl filler, and I'll just stitch this on a smaller piece of linen, smaller count piece of linen. It didn't take long to stitch it up, so it's not that big of a deal to redo it, but anyway, just wanted to say, Jessica, you are not alone, girl. That happened to me too. Another thing that I will probably be giving some love to in the coming week is a piece that I started during my birthday mania, and I don't think I've touched it since birthday mania, because I was working on this at another one of our Georgia stitching get-togethers at the library. That's not a good place to work on things that you need to count. And y'all, this isn't even a thing that I needed to count on. I should have seen this glaring mistake at the time, but I didn't. And so I need to go back and do a little frogging on it. But I don't think it's going to be, I hope it's not going to be as big of a pain as that Schoolhouse one was. But anyway, this is a piece by Brenda Gervais. Love her. I love a lot of her things. This is called A Faith of the Heart. There we go. Isn't that sweet? Oh, I just love that. So as I said, I had started this at one of the get-togethers, and I got a lot of it done. Well, I didn't start it there, but I was working on it there. And was building this house. I am not into construction, apparently. I am not a house builder. Because, y'all, look at that. Right there. See that window? I made that window too narrow, so I have got to go back in there and frog out that little piece of window. That should not be too much of an issue, I am hoping. So I will probably be giving this piece a little bit of love this week, along with my sampler journey piece, and what else am I going to be working on? Oh, my Summer Schoolhouse series. Oh, the Faith of the Heart. I am doing that on a piece of R&R fabric. It's 36 count espresso, and I'm using the called for flosses. It has Weeks and Gentle Arts and Valdani threads. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. I just love all the colors in here. I don't know if y'all can see those or not, but it's going to be really pretty. I love it. Okay. One thing that I finished that was in my birthday mania. I threw in a couple of smalls because, like this piece that I was working on for Brenda, it's not a big one. I do like my big samplers. That's my heart. I love samplers, especially like reproduction samplers. That's my main love. But I did throw in a few smalls too because I knew I could not start that many large pieces, and you know, you want to finish something every once in a while. So I had started just a little freebie. I think this was a freebie from Glory Bee, I think. And I finished this little guy, and I just shoved him in this frame that I got at Walmart. And so it's not real straight right now. I do plan on straightening that up. But I just wanted to see what it was going to look like in this frame. And it's really sweet. I like it. But I also found another frame that I'm thinking of using. I found this at the thrift store. And it's been professionally framed. This little piece here. I got it for, it was $2.99, but half price, so I got it for $1.50. I love the red frame. So if I don't use it for this piece, I will use it for another little piece of Americana, I think, because I think it's a really pretty little frame. It's very simple, but I think it would be pretty. I'm not sure if it would be the right choice for this one. It might be, but I think it would be pretty with a piece that had, like this, with a white, lighter background and maybe some red and blue. So it was $1.50. I thought it was a good deal. I'll save it for another little small piece. I think that might be all that I had that I was going to show you this week. I think once we splice these two videos together, that's probably going to be about as much Lorraine as you want to see in a day. So tomorrow I am headed to an exhibit at Bullock Hall, which is a local historical house. It is where Mittie Bullock was born. It's her childhood home. She was the mother of President Theodore Roosevelt. And there's going to be a sampler exhibit there. I think I read that there will be like 125 samplers, antique samplers, reproduction samplers, some smalls. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So that's what's going on tomorrow. And it's been a busy weekend. It's going to be a busy week, but I love it. Hope y'all have a great week, and I will talk with you again later. Thanks for watching.